Hey everyone, it's Friday, December 5th, 2025, and thanks for tuning in. Today we're doing a special single story episode, taking a deep dive into one disruption that looks like an airline problem on the surface, but underneath, it's a serious immigration story with real consequences for workers, students, and families. We're talking about what's been happening at IndiGo in India, where more than 1,000 flights have been canceled over just a few days. You've probably seen the headlines about crowds at airports in Delhi, Mumbai, and Bengaluru. But what you don't always see in the pictures are the people clutching visa documents, embassy emails, and offer letters. Panicking because a canceled flight could mean a missed interview, an expired visa, or even an unintentional overstay. Let's start with what actually happened. IndiGo, which is one of India's biggest airlines and a major player on regional international routes, has been hit by a sudden and significant drop in crew availability. That means they simply did not have enough pilots and cabin crew in the right places at the right times to operate their full schedule. In a tightly timed airline network, when flights start running late, aircraft and crew end up in the wrong city. Very quickly, the airline loses control of its rotations. Instead of operating flights with huge delays, IndiGo began canceling blocks of flights outright. That has created a crunch at major hubs like Delhi, Mumbai, and Bengaluru. Indian aviation outlets and business media have reported hundreds of cancellations each day for a short stretch, adding up to well over 1,000 flights affected, including some international routes. Now, on paper, that may sound like an operations or logistics story. But each grounded aircraft represents hundreds of people with their own timelines. And for many of them, that timeline isn't flexible. Migrant workers flying out for a new job, international students rushing to get to campus before orientation, spouses and children traveling on family visas, and people heading to another city or country for a consular interview, all work inside narrow windows set by embassies, employers, and universities. Here's why that matters so much. If you miss a scheduled visa interview at a consulate because your flight never left, you may have to wait weeks or even months for a new appointment. That can mean lost job opportunities, delayed semester start dates, or even losing your place entirely. If your entry visa is about to expire and you miss the last possible flight that would get you into the country in time, that visa might no longer be usable. And if you're already abroad and you're stuck longer than your permitted stay because your return flight was canceled and you can't rebook in time, you may unintentionally overstay, which can trigger fines, future visa denials, or long-term immigration complications. According to analysis by VisaVerge, large-scale schedule shocks like this tend to hit migrants and foreign workers harder than casual tourists. Tourists can often reshuffle hotel bookings and sightseeing plans. Migrants and students don't always have that kind of flexibility. They're tied to specific reporting dates, sponsorship rules, and consular instructions that say things like, "You must enter before this date," or "You must appear at this appointment on this day." Think about someone on a temporary work visa who has a reporting deadline with their employer in another country. Their flight is canceled, rebooking options are limited, and suddenly they're days late. The employer might be required to report that delay, or consider a student whose visa conditions require them to arrive before classes begin. A mass cancellation and no available seats on alternative flights can turn that into a violation of conditions, even if the student did everything right. So what might happen next, and what should people in these situations be doing? In the short term, we can expect IndiGo to work to stabilize its schedule, adjust crew rosters, and rebuild normal operations. But for travelers with immigration on the line, waiting passively is not an option. If you're affected, you should treat a cancellation as an urgent legal risk, not just a travel delay. That means contacting your airline immediately to document the disruption, asking for written confirmation of the cancellation, and keeping all boarding passes and emails. Then, reach out to the embassy, consulate, or visa center involved in your case as soon as you know you won't make it. Many consulates will try to accommodate people who can show they missed appointments or entry windows due to circumstances beyond their control, like mass airline cancellations. But they usually won't do that automatically. You have to ask, and you need proof. If you're already abroad and close to your authorized stay limit, you should also check with an immigration lawyer or a reputable advisor in that country about whether an extension is possible and how to show that airline disruption caused the problem. And if your travel is coming up soon and you know your visa deadlines are tight, consider building in extra time where you can, or at least knowing what your backup options would be if your first flight is canceled. The broader lesson from IndiGo's Meltdown is this: airline stability is now an immigration issue. When carriers run such tight schedules that one disruption cascades into hundreds of cancellations, the people who suffer most are often those with the least flexibility: migrant workers, international students, and families depending on visas with fixed dates. We're going to keep watching how this story develops, especially whether regulators or airlines start to recognize the immigration impact of these mass disruptions, and whether any formal protections or guidelines emerge for affected travelers. For now, if your own visa or immigration plans depend on a single flight, treat that flight as part of your legal process, not just your travel itinerary. Document everything, communicate early with consulates and employers, and don't wait until after a deadline passes to ask for help. You've been listening to this special single-story episode looking at what happened at IndiGo and why it matters far beyond the departure gate. For more detailed breakdowns on how travel disruptions intersect with visas and immigration rules, visit visaverge.com and stay informed before you fly.